Okay, hi guys. Happy New Year. You may have noticed that last week I did not have an intro to my podcast. I am going back and forth on trying to decide if I'm going to keep doing my intros because they do sometimes feel a little bit redundant. I do think it's nice to have a catch up that is just me to you. However, I also feel like I could just be doing that on Patreon and then the episodes. I feel like the episodes look really daunting when they're an hour and a half long. And sometimes that's because my intro, where I'm just talking alone, is 15 minutes long, which is annoying. I guess some of you like it, but I wonder if I should just move it to Patreon. So let me know what y'all think about that. But today I'm doing it. So, hey. If you guys didn't know, I am going on tour in March. If you haven't bought a ticket yet, going on tour in North America, two Canadian shows, one in Toronto, one in Vancouver, and then the rest is America. So if you haven't gotten a ticket yet, please buy a ticket. Come see me on tour. March 19th, I'll be on tour, my birthday, and I'll be in San Francisco. So if you're around, please come. The link is in my bio below. I'm so excited to go on tour. But I am in an incredibly good mood today because this may literally be the best day of my life today. And it's for something that has truly very little to do with me. Hopefully soon I'll be able to update y'all on that. But yeah, it's personal family stuff. But I'm so happy. Greatest day ever. Unrelated to my own personal life. I'm so happy. It's been a really, really amazing day. So I hope I can tell you all about it soon. Other than that, obviously so much going on in my life. I don't know if that's, I guess that's pretty obvious, but there's so much going on in my life, unrelated things you do know, things you don't know, always. Which, by the way, be mindful of that with everyone. Everyone is going through so much all the time. Be kind, be sweet, be kind. What else? What do you know how hard it is to be alive? I know you do. So be nice when you can. And if you can't be kind, you don't really have to say anything at all. You really don't. Remind yourself of that. Anyway, today's guests, I'm so excited about today's guests. In case you're unfamiliar with the Real Housewives franchise, it is a show on Bravo, and they follow different women in different cities, different Real Housewives in different cities. And the guests today are two of the newest cast members of Real Housewives of New York, which is a iconic franchise, iconic show in the franchise because it's New York. Obviously, New York is iconic. But they're also gay, which is so cool. So cool to have more representation across all different types of media. And I think that reality TV is such a great example of representation because we get real stories, real people. So I'm so stoked to have them on today, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet them, or if you know them, I'm excited for you to get to see another side of them and a longer conversation with them as a couple. It's also my first time having a couple in my new set in the bed, which is so exciting and so funny because we were in the bed. It's smaller than what I was doing before, but it was such a fun episode to record. And if you're not familiar with them, Racquel and her fiance Mel came on, and you'll get to know them today. They're both very cool people. Such an honor to have them on my show. Racquel is an art curator and a fashion model, and her fiance Mel is a forensic neuropsychologist. I had to read that to make sure I was saying it right. They are so cool. They are genuinely the coolest people. I hope you enjoy this episode, and Happy New Year. I love you all. Be nice. Be kind. Be sweet. Would it kill you? Really? Life is hard enough. Jeez Louise, right? Okay. Also, obviously, I am still in New York City. The fires in Los Angeles have been absolutely horrific, and I have been lucky enough to be able to stay here at my sister's so that I can wait a little bit till they die down. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I just decided to extend my trip here in New York. I am going back for a bit, but just for anyone, if you haven't seen on Instagram, my house is fine. I am lucky enough to be in an area that has not touched the fires. The fires have not reached where I live. And I am going to put resources and links in the bio of ways you can help people in Los Angeles if you are called to do so. So I feel very disassociated from it because I'm not there and I've been here, and everything I'm seeing, it just feels like a horrible, I cannot fathom that is the reality because I'm not there right now. So if you are listening to this and you've been affected by the fires, please reach out to me. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you personally. And if you know any better resource I should put in my bio, please also let me know. This episode is sponsored by Shopify. I cannot believe it's 2025, but I think it has a nice ring to it. So if you've been sitting on a business idea or a product or something you want to sell or a business you want to start, I think this is the year to do it. And if you are going to do it, Shopify is the right platform for you. If you've been watching the show for a while, then you know that I've used Shopify for going on almost 10 years now. It is the only site I've ever used to sell things on, and it is the best. Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, you have to admit. So sign up for your $1 per month trial period if you go to shopify.com/exes, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/exes to start selling today. That's shopify.com/exes. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so excited. Are you nervous? Do you like this bed setup? Is it what you expected?
Oh, I love the bed setup. I actually, one of my favorite things as a child was my aunt's home, and she had a waterbed. And so this definitely
is giving
reminded me of
waterbed.
that. It's giving
Right?
waterbed without the nausea.
Right? Imagine if it was a waterbed too. We would be like sloshing around.
Sloshing, and then you'd see me turning green,
Yeah.
and it would get really gnarly in
It
here.
wouldn't be good. My grandma had a waterbed too. So like same kind of vibe where I'm like, that was fun back then. But now, you have to have like certain insurance to like
have a
renter's
waterbed.
insurance to have a waterbed.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know waterbeds still existed.
Yep. Apparently.
Yeah.
Except for do they? Because this came without it.
Right.
And then I had to find this circle mattress. But
Wow.
it's worked out so far. It's worked out.
Super comfy.
How are you feeling about Real Housewives wrapping up? Like, are you excited? Do you get to take a break now from filming?
Yes. Well, we haven't been filming for a while.
Okay.
Right. So we filmed from March through the end of June.
Okay.
And then, some things here and there, like confessionals.
Okay, cool.
For the most part, the major filming was done a while ago.
I would think it was like a longer period of time than March to June, right? Like in my brain, it's like, oh, that's a year of their life. But no.
Right. Yeah, no.
That's
how chaotic our lives are. That was just a snippet. That was a quarter of our lives.
Literally, that's crazy. When did you guys get engaged to each other?
So we got engaged in October of last year. Yeah.
Okay, wow. Can I see your ring? Do you have it?
I don't go home without it.
It is insane. Okay, I saw something you were saying, like, each one is, like, two are from your kids. And, like, how did you decide on that?
Well...
How did you decide on that?
Because I asked the kids first if I could propose to their mom. So... they were very much, this was a team effort.
That's so sweet.
It was supposed to represent all of us.
That's so sweet. So you
got their permission.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got permission, as you should. That's so cute. And what was their reaction when you asked?
Oh, so sweet. Like Elle was, our daughter was just so, she was so ecstatic. She was just very typical, like, oh, I want to plan the wedding. And she's extremely excited. And Corey was also so sweet. He just said, because I said, it would make me, if I proposed to your mom, it would make me officially family, and he responded with like, you're already family. So it was so sweet.
That is so sweet.
But yeah, they're very, very sweet. I couldn't have asked for any better like stepkids. So yeah, I'm just really, really lucky.
That's so nice. Have you heard like the saying like, you're not the stepmom, you're the mom that stepped up?
Oh, no, I haven't. That's awesome. There you go. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, you should.
I'm going to use that too.
Yeah.
I know.
I love that.
So when you went to get the ring, did you get it with them? Like, did you have anything to do with what this looked like?
So I had, it's a designer I love. And so that was the first part. So we would go to this store where we buy, I don't happen to have her earrings on right now, but jewelry for each other. So she owns a couple of pieces as well. So I had my eye on a couple of these.
She knows what she wants. She's pretending that she doesn't. But yeah, you can't go wrong with a designer. And unfortunately, she has all these holidays like Mother's Day and all these appreciation days that we have to go through the year. So she gets a lot of jewelry from us, from the same designer. Yeah.
I'm sure that designer loves y'all.
Oh, yes.
Loves your business.
Loves us, especially because the rings went viral or something. It was insane.
I mean, that is unique as hell.
It was crazy. When I saw that People magazine was picked up a story on our rings, I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah, except for I'm not shocked at all. It's so, like, that's so different than anything else.
Yeah.
Do you have a ring too?
I do, but I actually forgot to wear it. Usually,
and she doesn't. They're in New York now. I didn't think you brought them here, did you?
No, I brought them.
Oh, you did? Oh, look at that. Even worse. You should have said you left them in New York. And
I forgot.
You just forgot. You left the house without. Wow.
Is yours a lot different, I'm assuming?
It is a lot different. It's not as big, and it's a lot more understated, but it's from the same designer.
Yeah, that's nice.
So it's great. Yeah.
I think that's like a cool thing that you get to do when you're like two women getting married, like getting into the design of it all, because it's so much more unique, even like down to what you're going to wear probably in your wedding. Which, do y'all know what you're going to wear?
So I wanted to, I had a couple of ideas. One of them was just a long black gown, and Elle just was like, what? I don't know. Black mom, really? I said, well, I'm not going to do white. And she said, but black? I guess. Okay. And then I was like, or we could have like a Cirque du Soleil themed wedding.
Okay, y'all love a theme.
Right?
Y'all love a theme.
Because I'm into Ariel. So I love to do, so I was like, I could come out and like, we could be full costume, and everyone should show up in like their best Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, no.
So maybe we do that.
Yeah. But hopefully people will do a better job of understanding the theme than
they
your
did.
engagement party.
God, yeah.
Definitely,
exactly. That was cracking me up. Okay, so your theme of your engagement party was, it was like ballroom.
Yeah, it was ballroom culture, yes.
Yeah, but I think everyone... straight people are just like, they hear ballroom and they're like, okay, so Dancing with the Stars.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But people, they tried.
They did try.
The drag was hilarious. The couple that they went as each other, I was very impressed.
Oh, Aaron and Abe.
Yeah. Abe looked like a little too excited to be dressed as a woman. I was like, he's taking this seriously.
Yeah. He wanted full glam.
Yeah. He did. And he wanted to come correct. He did not want to, well, he didn't want to cut corners, and they're good friends, so he didn't want to disappoint Mel.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Shopify. The best time to start a business is right now, and Shopify is the best place to do it. Shopify makes it easy to create your brand, open for business, and make your first sale. Get your store up and running with thousands of customizable templates. No coding or design skills required. All you need to do is drag and drop. Shopify has really powerful social media tools that help you link your socials to your store, and then you can create shoppable posts, which will help you sell anywhere and everywhere people are scrolling. Shopify makes it easy to manage your growing business. They help with the details like shipping, taxes, and payments from one simple dashboard, which lets you focus on the important stuff like growing your business. If you have an idea, don't let someone else beat you to it. Established in 2025 really does have a great ring to it. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/exes. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/exes to start selling with Shopify today. And one more time, that's shopify.com/exes. exes.
Yeah.
Did you feel proud of him?
Oh, I felt very proud. He's like a straight guy that is very open to being
very in touch with
supportive.
his feelings.
Being in touch with his feelings. He loves to process, just like all lesbians do. Loves to process their emotions, their trauma. Yeah, so
He's like lesbian culture vibe for sure.
Yeah.
I loved that theme too. It also kind of reminded me of like the Met Gala when it was camp, remember? And everyone couldn't get that. It's like
yeah.
it's crazy how much queer people influence like culture and how much straight people don't understand. They're like just don't really even know where those references come from. They're just like, I love this. But it's cool that it's changing. Like the fact that even like Chappell Roan's like gotten so big and people are like, we love that she's a lesbian. So like, you know, we're kind of infiltrating culture in a bigger way. I feel like RuPaul did that too.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Where like straight people are also like, this is for me. And I get that it's gay.
Right.
Versus like these undertones of like Madonna being so queer like in her art, but like people being like, she's a straight icon. That's my straight girl Madonna. It's like, what's straight about this stuff? Anyway,
exactly. And now we're on Housewives. So Housewives has 2 lesbians on their show. I mean, that's wild, right? When you think about where they started. So
it's amazing. And also what took them so long? Because who is more dramatic than lesbians?
Right.
Like,
exactly, right?
We should have all reality TV should be like 90% lesbians.
Right.
Like it would be so much more interesting.
definitely.
You're absolutely right. There's
right?
no more drama than, you know, lesbian relationships.
I know. Does it ever stop? Or like, do you feel like lesbians have remained even now that you're like getting married?
Yes, I think so. I think the drama never ends.
Yeah. Although, like, as we've gotten older, you know, I think the cool thing about starting to date, at an older age, right, is the drama has tempered. Yeah.
But it's still got to be hard to like stop because we're just so many women and then women sleeping with other. It's like
exactly.
It writes itself.
It really does.
I feel like if there's another season, we need a third lesbian character. Every season, we should just
keep adding it. Exactly. And then before you know it, it's just going to be the lesbian
lesbians of New York. Yeah.
That's what it should be. We need that show. People would love it.
I think so. From what I've heard, everyone seems to be wanting it to go in that direction.
Literally, you guys are, everyone loves.
Listen up, Bravo.
We'll send this to them. No, y'all are like the favorite of like the whole show. You and Jenna Lyons still like created so much. I just feel like you were like the backbone of this show in such a cool, interesting way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and Jenna Lyons is just so interesting always. Like,
she's
and
such
she got even more interesting this season.
She never stopped.
No.
So you and Jenna met because you both were going through a divorce and coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
Can you like elaborate a little bit on that? And for anyone who doesn't know, Jenna Lyons has been like an OG from Real Housewives of New York. So
yeah. Well, I mean, an OG for one season.
Yeah,
so
an OG.
Not to be confused with the OGs.
Right? Right. I'll get myself in trouble.
Yes, exactly. You don't want anyone coming after you.
No, thank you so much.
Call me Jenna and OG Roni. I don't know.
You are so right for that. And I know I have a lot of lesbians love like this kind of shows, like all of reality TV shows. Even if we're not represented in it, people are like, we love that kind of thing. Yeah. So having lesbians obviously makes it so much better.
Definitely.
But anyway, y'all met because you were going through a divorce at the same time and coming out at the same time?
Well, that's not why we met. But we met at a party.
Oh, nice.
Right. And then we just discovered that we were both going through the same thing.
Got it. Yeah. That had to be like a nice friendship to have, or like someone to lean on in that sense. Like, that's a unique scenario to go through, although you're not alone. Many people do, but like that had to feel pretty intense for you.
It was very intense. And, you know, it was the parallels were just crazy. I mean, we both were living in like townhouses in Brooklyn and with our husbands and, you know, had sons the same age, and, you know, had somewhat, you know, high profile lives. And so to be doing this, it was, you know, it was scary.
Yeah. What year was that?
That was, 2012? No, 11, 12. When we first, it was either towards the end of 11, the beginning of 12.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Isn't it crazy to think that gay marriage wasn't even legal when you
I
were
know.
coming out and you're
I
getting
know.
divorced at the same time? Like,
Right.
that's kind of ironic.
Yes.
So much has changed in the last like 12 years.
It has. And so we were both not only in the middle of divorces, but pretty contentious. You know, it was, they weren't happy about any of it.
They weren't happy about that.
So it was nice to be able to bounce things off of each other. Like, what are you going through right now? And what's being said? And, how are you dealing with it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And to like validate each other, I'm sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
When did you know like that you were queer? Did you have a feeling long before that?
I had a feeling as a child, definitely. One of my favorite things, I grew up with a single mom, 1-bedroom apartment. And when I had a stepfather for a couple of years, and I had like a sofa bed. And so I had the television to myself at night. And there's something called...
Where could this
so
go?
HBO was around. It had just come out. And then there was something called WHT, which was another cable streaming service, which I don't know, it's gone, or maybe it got swallowed up by someone else. But at night, after a certain hour, they had like showgirls on.
Got it? Yeah.
And they were like topless Vegas showgirls. And so I would have it on with the volume down. And I was like obsessed.
Wow.
Obsessed with that. And then, embarrassed to say, Benny Hill. You probably don't even know who Benny Hill is.
That's
But
very old school.
Very
Yeah.
old school British kind of creep, I guess.
No.
Because he would spend the whole show like chasing half-naked women around.
Got it.
Yeah.
But there was something in you
There
that
was
was
something
like,
in me that
I'm
was
kinda
like,
jealous of
yeah.
Benny Hill. That doesn't look that bad, Benny Hill.
Exactly. So
There were
a couple of
signs.
signs.
Yeah.
There's always signs,
Definitely.
right? Did you just like consciously like stuff those down, or
I did, I think. And I was attracted to men as well. So it was kind of like, okay, is this really real? And in between relationships, I had a couple of, like flings with women, but never a full on relationship. And so, it was scary to me, actually.
Yeah,
right?
I'm
sure. So yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, when I realized that my marriage was not working, I was like, well, I think I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to explore this side of me, then now's the time to do it.
yeah, totally. I feel for like more feminine presenting people, especially like from your generation even too, because why would you let yourself explore that? Like imagine you lived anywhere else in the world too, if you weren't in New York, like the ability to like just swallow that forever.
Yeah.
So many women have done that and
definitely.
do that and are like never brave enough to really let themselves explore.
Yeah.
But so good for you. For
Oh, no,
doing
thank
it.
you. But it did help that I was in New York.
Yeah.
And I did know, though, that I was going to lose a lot of friends and a lot of the, family members potentially. But I was in my 40s at that point, and it was like, you know what? I've just got to do this for myself.
No, yeah.
You
Like
know,
who are you living for?
Right, exactly.
At the end of the day.
It's life is short, and yeah, so.
Your eye makeup is so pretty, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's giving like the bi flag. Do you know that? It really is.
Yeah,
No.
you're right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
like,
right.
not on
I'm
purpose,
not
but-
bi.
Yeah.
But yes, it is. Okay. Well, no one should be
There's a
confused.
real
confusion there.
There's a bi
Not-
flag.
Yeah,
So do you identify then like as a lesbian?
I do.
But you were attracted to
I
men?
was, but I have not been in a very long time.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Totally. I also feel like you could be like physically attracted to the opposite sex or same sex, either way, it doesn't matter. And then also, but not actually want to be in relationship with them,
Yeah.
Like there's
That's
so
true.
much gray area in there that's not so black and white, but we're still operating so much from like a black and white as we're trying to explain
Yeah.
to people like this is what I'm a lesbian and this is what a lesbian is. Like I think people are still desperate for just like very clear understandings of what that means. You know what I mean? Mel, what about you? Like what's your kind of coming out
Yeah.
or realizing you were queer?
You know what? I lucked out in basically I was an athlete and a tomboy all my life. You know, I played basketball all my life all the way up to college. So I was always
She played Division I basketball.
Oh,
right?
yes. Hell yeah.
I always wore like basketball attire to school, and that was so that I was able to essentially
hide in plain sight.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
exactly.
the closet was made of glass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was no one questioned why I was wearing warm-up suits
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
But it was funny when I look back and I was telling her that my first day of high school I was so excited because I wanted to wear my new basketball Michael Jordan jersey, and that's not typical for a little girl or a teenage girl. So, but yeah, I got away with it. No one teased me. I never got bullied because I could play basketball.
Yeah.
So it worked out. But you think about how there's such diversity in sexual orientation in women's sports, basketball, WNBA, and there's way more visibility. And and at that time, if you think about it, it wasn't necessarily, which is so crazy, but it's not that it wasn't okay to come out as an athlete, but it just was unheard of. It was not public.
Yeah.
So even though half the team is gay, if not more.
Yeah.
But it's nice to come back and think about, like, have these conversations, like with my college coach now, of just like how different the the time is, and it's amazing how much that's like affirmed, and it's not necessarily something that you have to like stay quiet about. So it's amazing how much times have changed
so much. Yeah. Now we have like queerness is more celebrated.
Yeah.
Versus then it was like so much like a hush hush.
Definitely hush
even though
hush.
everyone is gay. Also,
exactly.
It's like athletes in general, obviously, there's just so much queerness in there. So it's like, and I can't even imagine talking about reality TV shows. Imagine a reality TV show from like when you were playing basketball and you have just like all of the relationships that are going on behind the scenes, breakups, and then you're on the same team with people probably.
That was happening too.
Like, I cannot even, I'm sure. And like
But that was happening without anyone knowing, right? Because you had to hide it all. So,
were you even talking to each other about it?
No, not. I think actually I got the support from some teammates like later on, and was able to understand. It's also confusing, right? Because it's like you have one representation of what a gay woman would look like, which is like all of us are kind of similar, which is a little bit at the time, more masculine. Yeah. Right. But and that was also confusing to me. Right? It's like I'm not really attracted to other masculine women. So it just has expanded, and your mind is blown when you think about like how different it is then, and like you didn't have like access to, to have a reality show that has like 2 gay women on it, would just be completely unheard of. So it's amazing how much like media has evolved.
And how important that is too. Like, I think the thing that's there's so obviously TikTok and YouTube and the internet is so nice, and it's done so much for representation because there's no barrier to entry. So many people can just like go and post online. But there is something so unique and amazing about like going into someone's living room, where we didn't have that when we were younger. Like, it wasn't just going to be on TV. Your mom's watching Real Housewives, right? And then you see 2 lesbians. Like, can you imagine what that would have done for you if you were like a younger kid? I would have I would have been like, first of all, it would have been my favorite show. Right. Would have been glued to it because you get away with exploring and learning without it feeling like you searched for it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because there's like a shame in the search, which I think, I was just talking to someone about this the other day, but so many people that are like my age have this universal experience of going to YouTube and typing in girls kissing girls. And it's like, when did you do it? Right? Like, we've all kind of done that thing. And even with TikTok now, like, people don't have to search because your For You page, all you have to do is stay on a clip for like 2 seconds too long, and
then your algorithm
is
picks
like,
up, ooh, gay girl, gay girl.
Literally, they're like, you liked that masked lesbian a little too much. Like, we're gonna show you more.
Right.
So taking away the search. I mean, I think there's so much like language and talk about there's more gay people now, and there's like more trans people now, and it's like,
And
are there
fluid.
more people, or are we just able to be ourselves?
Right.
I think that's the case.
Yeah.
I think it's just that it's more accepted.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, even in my situation, I don't know. I have so much empathy for like people who are from where I'm from in Texas or like the South, and who are like bisexual and know it and won't let themselves explore it. And because I'm like, it's hard. Like, it is still like, you are, like you said, risking losing people, losing friends, losing family. And that is such a huge, like, the risk reward for that, I'm sure, is so overwhelming for people. And it makes sense why a lot of people come out later in life when you have a foundation set and you're like, I am safe.
Yep.
I have my own money. I have my own things. I have my own house. Like, that's it's easier to risk then, but then at the same time, it's so much more to risk too, because then you have like kids and you're not just living a selfish life at 20. So I can't even imagine how that must have been for you.
Yeah, I think I felt pretty comfortable in the fact that my kids were in very progressive schools. And it wouldn't become an issue for them. And because they were so young, they wouldn't remember a time when I wasn't that, you know?
So, so smart.
Yeah.
Where they don't feel like they lost some version of you. They don't even know that version.
Exactly.
So interesting. Was your, and you tell me if I'm not allowed to ask, but was your divorce at all inspired by your queerness? Or like, were those things linked? Or
they actually weren't linked, but my unhappiness within my marriage did cause me to start thinking about, you know,
what else could have been,
right? And what kind of a life do I really want to be living? And so I came out, but it wasn't like, oh, she left her husband for a woman. Right? It was more like our relationship was falling apart. And it was more, let me look inside myself and really, do what might make me happier, actually.
Like, where is my fulfillment?
Where is it? And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it now, when the kids are small.
So smart.
When they're young, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, there's no right or wrong time, I guess, at the end of the day.
There isn't. Outside of, I'd say, like, be happy, right? Life is just, we just get so much thrown at us. And, you know, oftentimes we're in careers we don't like. So if you find your slice of happiness somewhere.
Do you ever feel like, because you waited so long, do you like mourn like a youthful, like?
Yeah, I think about it. She actually comments a lot on, I think if you were growing up in this day and age, you would look like this, or you would have, because of my personality. And because I do come across as very, perhaps hyper femme, but I am not really, you know, I'm kind of more in the middle. So it's
Butch queen.
Yeah, that's so fair. I mean, I wonder what your life would have looked like. But like, I guess we all have to wonder that too. I feel like if I had been gay before, I probably would have had to be better at sports. So that I could wear my tracksuit all the time.
Join the softball team.
Or what if you didn't come out, if you weren't outed, right? Like, how long might you have continued?
Oh, 100%.
Right.
I always say, I mean, the weird thing for me, and for people who've watched this podcast before, I was telling them about my coming out experience before and how I fell in love with the girl in high school. The thing for me, before that happened with that girl, I had boyfriends and I would kiss my boyfriends and stuff. And I just, in my head, I was like, I guess this is what everyone's talking about.
Is this the spark I'm supposed to be feeling?
I was like, okay, we like doing this. Okay. I'm like, I can do it. And I had no idea. And then when I kissed a girl, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. There's kind of like no ignoring that once it happens to you. You're kind of like, fuck. I didn't know you could be a lesbian. Even like
Right.
even in high school, and I graduated in 2010, even then I was like, oh, my softball coach is a lesbian, my volleyball coach is a lesbian, my PE coach is a lesbian, Ellen DeGeneres is a lesbian. It's like, those are the people who are allowed to be lesbians.
Right,
It's
see?
not me. Like, I'm not.
Right.
And it is to
That's
your point too.
2010.
Yeah, and it's to your point too, where I'm like, not only is that not me, I do not want to kiss those women.
Right.
No offense to any of them,
Right.
but it
Right.
just wasn't. I was like, well, why would I?
Yeah.
And then I went online, and then I saw, oh my God, there's there's feminine lesbians also. Okay, maybe I could risk a few things for this. But anyway,
So just because you brought up something about conversion therapy, you were never subjected to any
No,
of that.
I-
Okay, so that was,
thank God.
yeah.
Right.
Literally. Oh, I was lucky because my family, even though I was born in Dallas, my mom and dad are from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I had a different kind of upbringing than a lot of my friends. Although religion was very much around and like a part of everyone's life so intensely, it wasn't in my house to that degree, you know?
Okay.
And so also when my parents found out that I was maybe queer, first of all, I had a boyfriend. So they're like, all right, what's going on? They're like, you're not gay, are you? I'm like, do you not know my boyfriend, Kevin? Like, why the hell would I be gay?
Yeah.
So I was able to just like fly under the radar longer, and their reaction to it wasn't so like World War.
Extreme.
Yeah. They were like, okay, well, but they also weren't like, and if you are, that's okay. Like, but it wasn't like, but if you are, it's not okay. It was just
Right.
kind of like, they didn't want to assume anything about me. So they're like, okay, if she said no, then she's not. But like, I can't even imagine being the parent of a queer person has to also be so complicated in processing an expectation that you thought you had for a kid.
Right.
Although I think we're moving away from that so much now that queerness is like everywhere. But like, I don't know, even friends of mine having to process the life that they thought they were going to have, and now it looks different. Like there's so much, it's more complicated than it is just like this easy, beautiful girls kiss girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, also even to that point of like, we kind of wonder too. Sometimes we talk about what is it like for the kids to have a queer parents, right? A queer step parent, and you know, I'm much more integrated in their lives than previous relationships. So you know, it's navigating. I'm interacting with their friends' parents, and going to their games, and so like meeting other teachers, parent-teacher conference. So we oftentimes wonder, is like, what is it like for them? Because right now they are straight, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think there's not also enough attention on like, what is it like for kids? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Especially, there's just so little there's still so little representation,
Exactly.
even
Still.
still right
Yes.
now. So,
Yeah.
and we don't know too. Even the people that are the representation, we're looking for representation still all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always think about the kid thing for like when I have my own kids. Of like, I don't want to be the only, like people ask me if I'm going to stay in Los Angeles, right, forever. And I'm like, I don't know. Like there's a part of me that loved my suburb lifestyle that I grew up in, and it was like this bubble, and it felt very safe and protected. I don't want to be the only lesbian moms at the PTA.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, also, why don't I? I mean, who cares? But then it's like, I don't know. Like all of that is something that you have to think about that maybe not everyone thinks about.
Yeah, but I think it is complicated because you wouldn't have community, right?
Right.
Which is so important.
Yeah, and your children would feel different, right? Because they'd be the only ones. So it's all so complicated.
Yeah.
And then how do you navigate that? So, but where you grew up, is it still as conservative as?
I
it
would
was
say
when you-
it's pretty conservative. I know Dallas has a pretty big like gay community, just
Right.
like any major city, I think, but I think it's more in the town where I grew up, which is like
Got
the
it.
suburbs outside of Dallas, where things
Right.
still are pretty one way. I always say
In
it's
the
kind
state of Texas,
Yeah.
right? It's politically
I
Well,
know.
there's Austin. Isn't Austin supposed to be pretty liberal?
And that's what everyone always is like, you could live in Austin. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, but like it's still Texas, and you're still
Yeah.
governed
Sure,
by
exactly.
Texas,
Exactly.
and like
Right.
just even like getting an abortion in
Right.
Texas,
Yes,
like
well,
Yeah.
yes.
even if you're in Austin, you're not protected from
Right,
those
exactly.
things,
Right.
and it's still beneath the surface in the culture all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
But we obviously are living such unique lives living in New York and LA. It's like so different. I have to think about it and remind myself all the time. Even I'm so lucky to have this podcast and talk to so many different people. And then I have to remind myself, I'm like, who is my audience? Like so much of my audience is not LA and New York. So when I'm talking about things, I'm trying to be mindful of like, whoa, things are still probably so hard wherever you are potentially. Wait, where did you grow up? Are you from New York too?
I'm from California.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. But,
Okay.
you know, the same thing. But see, even in like I grew up in the Bay Area where you have San Francisco, right? So, but even then, during that time, it still wasn't really prevalent. It's not as accessible. It's not accessible in the school. I think that's one of the issues is that it's not like, I mean, adults are going out there in San Francisco. And of course, it's like, there's a huge gay community, but that's not accessible to you as a kid when you're developing, right?
100%.
Well, also, and I think you were growing up in a community where it really wasn't, you know, maybe not super religious, but within the Filipino community, like queerness and all of that was still something that really...
Yeah, really is. Filipinos are typically Catholic, and you know how that goes where, being gay is not accepted. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So what's y'all's love story?
Oh boy, let her tell this because she will make it very funny.
No. See, I tell people that after 10 years, she finally gave me a chance.
Oh, wow.
Right,
Mind you, she was married and then in another serious relationship, and I was in a serious relationship, so I'm not sure that's fair.
Okay, it's a typical thing. It's a typical thing with queer. You know, like blurred lines, meaning like, you know, there's always such a small pool of us, right? Right. And so, you know, I was friends with her in a way where it's not like close friends, but, and more than friendly, but where I would, you know, meet up with her for like lunch, I don't know, every couple
dinner
months.
Parties,
Dinner parties, all that stuff. Because she was partnered at the time, and so was I. So it was like a group of us, a couple of friends, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I met her like in this like I don't know if you remember what is that reality show? Have you
Top
heard of
Model?
it? Yeah. Have you ever heard of this? Like it had a very short stint in New York. It's called the Dalloway. It was a very like upscale restaurant.
She's
club.
a lot younger than us. She might have been in Texas still.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you might have been in like elementary school, but I mean, maybe, right? Because she might have. So,
what year did you leave Texas?
2015.
Yes, see. No.
okay, so this was in 2012.
Okay.
And there was a queer woman on Top Model and a queer woman on what other show? I think it's called The Real L Word or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a show.
Did you watch
watch
that
it?
all the time?
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Of course I watched that.
That was your show, like My Benny Hill?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Yeah.
Hiding at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Oh, I was downloading the L Word on LimeWire. Do you guys remember LimeWire?
Yes.
We're like
Yeah.
illegal, and
Yeah.
it was just like
exactly illegal.
yeah,
No
very
trace.
illegal. Breaking my family computer.
Right.
So scared that they were gonna be like, "What the hell's the L Word?"
Oh, yeah.
I made it out of there alive though. Yeah. But there were two people on that show. Those shows.
And then so they started a like a restaurant club, right?
Cool.
And this was like in Soho, a nice part of New York, and it was just very unique because you know, as queer women, right, you're only used to like small hole in the wall bars
or like nights. Like we have like
right.
Tuesday night.
exactly.
Right,
Just
exactly.
the gay bar.
Right, you're very limited. So this was a whole space dedicated, right?
Oh my god,
And,
cool.
yeah, modern,
I'm
beautiful.
guessing it closed down.
Closed down, exactly. That.
It didn't even last a year.
No
I know.
way.
Yeah.
It was
It was
really-
beautiful.
it
Yeah.
was-
Lesbians go out.
I
You
know,
gotta
exactly.
Keep going out.
All right. Exactly.
But even when you're partnered,
I
you
know.
can
You
still
should
go out for
to
dinner.
support these places, right?
It's getting. We're doing more. We're
Yeah.
doing more. As there's more of us, there's more people to go out all the time.
Right.
Thank God. But that's sick. And that's you guys would go there together.
No. So we were partnered. We're both at the same time partnered, and it was we happened to be going to the soft opening this place, right?
Okay.
And so actually, we do have a picture of us.
No way.
That is in a Wait, is it in the cut? It's in the cut.
That's amazing.
2012, all of us were there.
Wow.
And it's hysterical. She doesn't want me to talk about this, but I was literally looking directly at her while there's a picture of everyone looking in a different direction because there was some woman that was dancing on the tabletop, whatever. And I was just like staring at her. So it's just hysterical that it caught it. So it is in the magazine. But
it's like love at first sight in a way.
Absolutely. Like at least I was attracted to her, and then I got to know her over the years. And I always tell people, like, I've seen her through 2 relationships.
Oh, wow.
And so I have, like, the most recent, like, work sample of how she broke up and navigated all these things, right? It's like, and how she is as a mother. And so I was like, wow. I was like, this woman's amazing. And how she handles herself in relationships and breakups, like, you could tell a lot by a person, right? And so, and how she is, especially as a mother. So, that's what actually really got me, and I actually had like such a crush on her for 10 years.
That's so cute.
But
we
managed
didn't
to get
communicate.
married within that time to another woman.
She wants to downgrade. She wants to downgrade my dedication, the torch that I held for her for a very long time.
Yeah. Hey, life is not black and white.
Exactly.
You could get married
She
and
keeps
still have a
bringing
crush.
that up.
She won't let that go.
Yeah.
Did you like her? Like, oh my God, was your wedding that you had? Did you have a wedding before?
I had a wedding, and she was there with her partner.
No way.
Yes.
I was.
This is the gayest shit I've ever heard.
Exactly.
This is the
There's
gayest.
so many factors of this that were so gay.
And then I remember thinking, wow, she doesn't look like she wants to be up there. I don't know what is going on. Is she okay?
Stress.
Right.
Yes.
Right, blink twice. It was one of those
It was-
situations.
and then it ended within a year. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. So this is a very different experience. This engagement and
Oh,
wedding.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because now we're old, and now you're.
So we're old. Not really, not just older. We're old.
and
All right. Great.
You know, it's very, very different. As we're both of us, we wouldn't even actually want to get married unless I think the opportunity to like.
Yeah, it's true.
to-
No, I mean, after her marriage, she was in a relationship and never got married. Same with me. After my marriage came to an end, I didn't get married again, and I was like, I don't know that I really want to. So yeah.
This feels right.
But you guys are so sweet. Do you think, are both of you kind of serial monogamous then? Like, have you kind of been
Oh, she's calling you
like
out.
ships in
Calling
the night?
me out.
Calling us out.
Calling me out. Really? Okay. Yes, I yeah, we are.
Yeah,
serial.
both of you. So
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
have a crush like that, then it's like divine timing to try to find each other both available at the same time, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you got to move quickly with this one. I had to find my opening.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you got her.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what matters.
Exactly.
That's what matters.
Exactly.
What was y'all's experience like being on the show and like do you think about your exes watching that stuff? I'm just wondering for my own.
That is a very queer investigative question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because only queers worry about their exes. No one else does. But
Probably not as much as
Yeah.
we do, right?
Yeah.
At all.
No,
But like,
definitely not.
they have to watch it, right?
Neither of us know.
but I imagine.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can
Avoid it, I suppose.
Yeah. It is a huge show.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's not like a
Definitely.
little show.
Yeah.
It's a huge one.
Yeah. There are billboards out there. So
Does it feel like, did you feel like super, I don't know, like, did it feel exploitative of your life or of your love or of your...
I thought perhaps that it could end up feeling that way, or I can figure out how to hold this thing.
I know.
Like an ice cream cone maybe is easier.
Easy.
I'm gonna get stands for them, and you just made me remember. I gotta do that sooner rather than later.
So I thought that might be the case. I also thought it was going to be a lot more intrusive. I had envisioned, and I when I sat them all down, I said, listen, what do we think? It was like there are going to be cameras in every room in your house, but that wasn't the case.
It's not like that.
No, it's not like that. So that was a pleasant surprise. So after that, when we realized that wasn't the case, it was like, oh, this is going to be easy.
Game on. Yeah.
Right.
So it felt like very like you knew when they would be shooting, and like it was more like scheduled.
Yeah. There's definitely more of that. And you just live your life, and they kind of follow you around, as opposed to having a camera in every single room in your house.
Have you been surprised by the moments that they've kept in versus the moments they took out, or is it kind of what you expected it to look like?
Yeah, I have been surprised because there are some moments that I would have loved to have been in, like stayed in, like with the kids. Some great family moments, some really good work moments. So, yeah.
Do you get to see any of that, or like is there a master cut that you guys can keep and then look back on one day as a family? You should just be like, can you give me everything with my kids?
Right, I know.
It's like a very expensive home video.
Right?
If you think about it. If you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
That'd
lovely.
be cool to get.
I imagine, as having now watched, because prior to this, neither of us had ever watched any Housewife show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Any of the franchises.
That's so brave of you then, even more so to be like, sure.
Well,
Right.
so
I know. We had to binge watch it beforehand.
So
too.
once I agreed, I started binge watching it, and then I really started panicking. And she was like, "Turn it off!
Right.
What are you doing to yourself? We already said yes. Just turn it off, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be." And after the experience, I was able to then go back, and so now I'm watching because now I get it, and it wasn't as terrifying as I thought it was going to be, but. I do see that they flash back sometimes into, so I hope that some of those scenes maybe do make it back in,
in
if
the
this
future.
goes another season or two.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Yeah. That's so brave of y'all in general, I think, to sign up for reality TV and to like give up some of your, I guess I've been so in control of my image for so long because I'm making it and editing it and doing it. Right. So the thought of giving that up and being like, okay, be nice to me.
Please be
nice to me. You just never know what character you're going to be, I feel like.
That's very true.
I do feel like a Real Housewives is obviously a little bit more controlled than like a Survivor or something, or where they're trying to find a villain, But still, you don't know.
Yeah. They can't, the one thing that I was told in the very beginning was, you just be yourself. They can't turn you into someone else, right? If you are who you are, that's what they're going to capture.
So true.
Yeah.
They don't put words in your mouth.
They can't. No.
Except for, do you ever watch like The Bachelor and you hear the edits and you can like hear them kind of mash up sentences that someone said?
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
So so I was concerned about that, or having something taken out of context and thrown in. But I think with a show like this, I also feel like they're pretty respectful and want to capture you the way you are, because that's what they're trying to put out there. Is someone's life.
So true. And you're like professional, amazing women, like.
So
most of you, all of you,
the whole cast, right? So so it's a big risk to throw your life into the hands of someone,
Totally. Is there anything you want to talk about that you feel like you haven't gotten to talk about, especially
queer? I think maybe the reception, queer representation, and also Latin representation. And people have definitely gone up to her. I mean, we just went to. Kathy Hilton's and Glad's
my friends
holiday
were there.
Party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, some of my friends were there. Which you remind me of my friend weirdly, but I actually don't know if they were there. This other couple was there. Do you know Alex and Zoya?
No.
I mean, it's totally random. It's just more like your personality reminds me of this girl.
Okay.
But she's like a Persian cook, and like
Okay.
you guys have
Ooh.
like a similar energy to.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you after. But anyway,
Yeah.
you went to this party.
Yeah. And
Oh, and it's just very sweet to hear other people come up to her and say, "Hey, you're representing," and it's awesome to show like your life in a way that feels like naturally queer versus like performative. And this is not a knock on like any queer representation that maybe is portrayed as performative, right? And I think this is like an angle which I think Racquel wanted to show is that like this normalizing queer life and not necessarily queer people who live a more heteronormative life, even though there's obviously heteronormative aspects of this relationship, right?
Yeah.
But just celebrating its different parts, like ball culture and different gender representation and just how we function. It's not necessarily just like I'm the man and she's the woman and blah blah blah. But like there's so much like nuance in this relationship. So I love that people come up to her and that the first things that come out of their mouths are like, we love how much she represents queerness in a way that is so authentic.
Yeah, I think authenticity is definitely so obvious, like coming through the show from you guys in a way that we don't always get. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, that was really the one reason why we said yes.
Yeah.
Was for the representation.
Well, thank you for doing it, because it is like brave of you to put yourself out there to be that representation.
Yeah, it was hard because I also, in speaking to some people last night, it was like I put my family out there, my relationship with my mother, my like literally everything that's actually going on in my life, and that was difficult. There were a couple of scenes that were hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
But, I figured if we're going to do this, we have to just be as authentic as possible and really,
Yeah.
hopefully some people can relate to some of the things that I'm going through or that we're going through, or,
Yeah. And well, sadly, some of the things that are most relatable in life are the less beautiful parts of it,
Right.
Like, I thought it was really special and nice the way that you kind of explained how your mom didn't come to your engagement party and like the way you navigated it was both, I think, so authentic to yourself, and also you didn't paint her in a bad light in any way either. It was kind of like, this
Please tell her that.
Well, that's the takeaway. That was the takeaway I got. That you're like, this is the reality of the life
a good
that
insight
we're
on
going
it.
through, and it's not. You didn't villainize her in any way. It's just like it is going back to that people processing things and the fallout of that. Like, it's like the whole like. You can't be the villain if you just tell the truth. If you just told the truth about what was going on, you weren't making anyone out to be something they weren't.
Right.
But that must have been hard for you also.
It was. And, I didn't really give it a lot of thought because I was just like, I'm in this where, they're capturing and this is what's going on. We got engaged and my mother might not come. And I'm just going to be honest about that. And then, clearly the questions are going to be like, why wouldn't your mother come? So I didn't want to say, well, I'm not going to talk about that because listen, it happens. And I think a lot of people have similar experiences.
100%.
So.
Yeah. And if you think about it too, you're also representation to some mom out there who might have a queer daughter one day and like seeing how much that meant to you or like how much it hurt that she wasn't there.
Right.
It's like, okay, this is a news flash it's representation for everyone when you think about it. And it's so positive that even if it is like a sadder part of your story.
Yeah. Yeah. Or for that mom out there whose daughter just recently came out or something. It's like, look, we have great lives.
Oh my God.
This isn't like, oh my gosh, my poor daughter's never going to have kids, never going to do this, never going to do this. It's just like, no, listen.
Yeah. Look at how happy someone could be.
Exactly.
And successful.
Exactly.
That's so important because I think so many parents do fear that
Definitely.
queerness is like inherently linked to safety, like sadness and lack of success, which is like, oh my God, it couldn't be further from the truth. If people champion queer people, then we can really take over the world. Honestly, we're kind of the best. Obviously. Okay, I had one more question, which is, Mel, what do you do?
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I'm a forensic neuropsychologist, which gets thrown around a lot. So sometimes, yeah.
And what does that mean?
Yeah. So it really means, so I can be in situations where I get retained by law firms to be an expert witness, right?
Okay.
So it could be about someone's, like capacity, like to stand their own trial. Right?
Okay.
So to understand, are they fit to stand and understand their own trial? Things like that. Or if there's like a brain injury, someone sustained a brain injury and they are like suing, or if it's part of being able to be competent to stand trial, right? That's another piece. But providing, like, is essentially weighing in and saying, hey, this injury, or like sexual assault, hey, this trauma really impacted him in this way. So that's my role. Yeah.
So basically, you're a genius.
Well, and there's she has to listen to a lot of dramatic.
Right, you have to be like a strong person to subject yourself to that.
But she also has a mental health practice with a bunch of therapists and
so it's just like it's a full service. I mean, queers love this mental health topics, right? So this is it's a full service mental health practice that provides like neuropsychology, forensics, and also like general therapy. It also provides I started a practice out here in LA that, working because of my sports background, I consult for some like NBA players, like doing performance coaching. But primarily it's primarily based in New York, where it's like a pretty big practice, providing medication, things like that. So
that's so interesting. What's it like to date someone who's that smart, and especially about
who has
that
me
stuff?
in therapy 24/7?
Yeah.
That's not true. It's the dog. It's the dog. She's not attuned to the dog's emotions, and this is where these are like relationship problems.
Apparently, we have some extremely anxious dogs.
Oh no! This looks like the most happy dog I've ever seen. I'm seeing no anxiety here. He's like, anxious who?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But in true lesbian fashion, the other two dogs we have are now, she co-parents with her ex. So otherwise they would be here, and one of them has significant trauma. So he is definitely very anxious.
Oh, the co-parenting of pets is the gayest shit.
Exactly.
So this stuff does stay the same forever.
It stays the same, no matter what generation. We actually know a woman who went to, her case went all the way up to the Supreme Court because they had issues with custody of their dog.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
No.
You're kidding.
No.
A gay woman?
A gay woman.
Yeah.
What's wrong with us?
Yeah, exactly.
The ex did not want to adhere to the co-parenting schedule.
Yeah.
Supreme Court. That's wild. Oh my God. I just imagine Mel's in there like being like, okay, and she can handle this case. And she's fit to understand the schedule.
Right.
So
hey, that would be a dream role.
Yeah,
you didn't get that case.
I didn't get that case.
She's like, I'm down to do anything with dogs.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will have the links to watch Real Housewives of New York and also all of their socials. You're kind of more private on yourself.
I'm private. Yeah.
But anything you
the
can.
social to her practice.
Yes, exactly. The things you can follow will be down below. Thank y'all so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.